All right, welcome. Today, we're going to peek behind the curtain at something you probably never see, the invisible machine that gets top tech talent into the world's biggest companies. It's a really complex, fast-paced world, and we're going to break it all down for you. So think about it. How does that actually happen? It's almost never as simple as just clicking apply on a website. No, behind the scenes, there's this whole hidden world, a massive network of recruiters and vendors, all working to connect the right person with the right job. So to make this all feel real, let's follow the journey of a consultant we're going to call Ravi. He's a really sharp Java developer, he's on an H-1B visa, and right now he's on the bench, which is just industry talk for being in between projects. His search is the same story thousands of IT pros go through every day. Okay, let's dive right in. To understand how Ravi lands a job, you first have to understand the world he lives in, what insiders call the IT staffing food chain. Yeah, just look at all these layers. The path from a consultant like Ravi to a huge client like Walmart is almost never a straight line. See, his recruiter's company is often what's called a sub-vendor, and they have to work through a prime vendor. That's the company that actually has the direct contract with Walmart. The most powerful player in this whole game is the prime vendor. Because they have that direct relationship with the client, they're basically the gatekeepers. They hold all the keys and control who gets access to the job openings. So Ravi's recruiter, they work for a sub-vendor. They don't have that direct line to the client, so they have to partner up. And here's the most important part. Every layer takes a cut of the money. So the whole game is about having as few layers as possible between you and the client. That's how you make a better profit. Okay, so now we know who's who in this ecosystem. But how does Ravi's recruiter actually get his resume in front of the right people? Well, it all comes down to being proactive and having a solid marketing strategy. A great recruiter doesn't just sit back and wait. Not at all. They have a whole toolkit they use to hunt down jobs. They blast out emails called hot lists, they're constantly searching job sites, reaching out to people on LinkedIn, and honestly, the most important one, they're always on the phone building relationships. And this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. This is a real subject line from one of those hot list emails. It's short, it's packed with keywords, and it gets sent to hundreds, maybe even thousands of other vendors every single morning. It's a total numbers game. And when they're digging through job sites like Dice or Monster, recruiters use this special syntax called a Boolean search. It's kind of like a secret code that lets them be super precise, filtering by job title, visa status, location, you name it, all to find that perfect match for Ravi. So, once a potential match is found, we get to the most crucial part of this whole thing, the negotiation. This is where a recruiter's skill really, really matters. It's where the deal is made or completely falls apart. Now, for a consultant like Ravi on an H-1B visa, the contract is usually Corp to Corp or C2C. All that really means is that Ravi's recruiting firm pays his actual employer, not Ravi the person. And this little detail is super important for understanding how all the money flows. You can think of the negotiation as a tug of war between two numbers. On one side, you have the client's max budget, the absolute most they're willing to pay per hour. And on the other side, you have the consultant's bottom line, the lowest rate they'll take. The recruiter's job is to live in that space right in between. So here's how it shakes out in practice. Let's say the recruiter negotiates a final bill rate of $70 an hour with Walmart. Great. Then they turn around and agree to a pay rate of $62 an hour for Ravi's employer. That difference, the $8 an hour, that's the recruiting company's gross profit. Now, this industry moves incredibly fast, and believe me, it has its fair share of problems. A true pro has to be on the lookout to protect their consultant, their client, and, of course, their own reputation. And these right here are some of the biggest landmines you can step on. I mean, fake resumes, that's an obvious one. But a really huge problem is when Ravi gets submitted to Walmart by 3 different vendors. It just makes everybody look disorganized and unprofessional. And being honest about rates and crystal clear on who the employer is, that's absolutely non-negotiable. This is truly the golden rule of the business. A single bad placement, even a hint of being dishonest, it can just torch a reputation that took years to build. Your reputation is your most valuable asset. Being diligent and ethical is everything. Okay, so the negotiation was a success. We've cleared all the red flags. Now it's time for the best part, making it all official and getting Ravi to work. The final deal really lives in the paperwork.
You've got the SOW, or Statement of Work, which basically just spells out what Ravi will be doing. And then you have the PO, or Purchase Order. That's the golden ticket. That's the client officially saying, yes, the money's approved for this.
And this workflow is the final lap. Ravi aces the interview, the recruiter gathers all the contracts, Ravi goes through onboarding, background checks, all that fun stuff, and then he starts the project, and the billing cycle officially kicks off. So after all that work, the marketing, the endless calls, the tough negotiation, the mountain of paperwork, this is the result. Let's say the final margin ended up being $7 an hour. That's the tangible reward for navigating this incredibly complex world and finding Ravi his next big project. And that kind of brings us to the end. The technology that powers our daily lives, it's all built by people just like Ravi. And his journey to get on that project was guided by this hidden, complex, and honestly fascinating industry. So maybe the next time you use an app, you'll think about that invisible chain of recruiters and vendors who helped put the team together. Thanks for tuning in.